Hi everybody, PJ here, and today we're going to have a quick chat about Clumber Park. Now Clumber Park is a beautiful, beautiful place, and it's actually an ideal place to go with your drone and get some absolute fantastic footage. But the problem is, the National Trust that own Clumber Park have a policy that there's no drones allowed anywhere. Now, taking this into consideration, I did phone them and ask if I could come down one day when it was fairly quiet and fly my drone and get some footage, and I just got a flat refusal. So I decided to have a look on the map, and it turns out that the road that runs through the middle of Clumber Park is actually funded by the public. It's funded at public expense, which means it's a public road and it doesn't belong to Clumber Park or the National Trust. So with this in mind, I decided to take a wander down there, fly my drone over the top, and this is basically what happened. Now we're going to have a chat about the attitude of people that I came across, and the first people I came across was on the main gate where you pay to go into Clumber Park, and her attitude was, I work here and I'm telling you you can't fly your drone. Now, I did explain that I was going to go up on the road at the top, which was publicly accessible, and it was a public road and a public highway, and that they couldn't stop me. But she still insisted that I couldn't fly my drone over the top of Clumber Park. So she obviously doesn't understand the drone rules. I'll put my teeth in. So let's have a look at her reaction first off and see what she says.
Hi.
Hi. I'm going to go up on the road there and I'm going to fly my drone round.
You're not actually allowed to on the site.
Right.
Yeah, just the rules. We're not allowed to fly drones in here at all.
I'm not going to be flying it in here. I'm going to be flying it over the top.
But you are in the park. You're in the...
I am here.
Yeah. But where will you be flying?
Up there, onto the road.
Part of the park.
It's not?
It is.
What makes you say that?
Because I work here and it is part of the park. Anything through the main gates is the park. So from Hackley Head down to Carberton, through the side, it's the park.
Right. Well, I've looked on the internet, and that road is maintained at public expense, which means it's a public road.
But the rest of it isn't.
Well, I'm not. If I'm stood on the road, that's fine.
Your call. I'm just telling you, it's part of the park and we're not allowed to fly drones in here. The road itself, the tarmac, may not maintained by the government because it's terrible, but the rest of it is ours.
Yeah.
So if the drone was to fall out of the sky for whatever reason and hit one of our customers or livestock, who's going to be to blame? It's going to be us. That's why we don't allow them in.
Why would you be to blame?
Because it's on our property.
I still don't follow that.
Well,
so if somebody skids off the road in the car into a field and hits a sheep, that's your fault. So as you see, she's trying to say that if anything happened with my drone and somebody got injured, it would be the National Trust's fault, which is absolute rubbish. I did say to her that, what happens if somebody skids off the road and kills a sheep? Would that belong to, or would that be National Trust's fault as well? And she said, no, I'm not saying that. So basically she doesn't know what she's talking about, which is nothing new for a lot of these people. Jobsworths.
I'm not, probably not, but...
All right, so what?
Permit flying drones. It's not for argument, it's just the rule. We don't permit flying drones. It's non-negotiable. I can't say in which case go ahead. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
It's not being a dick, it's just the rules.
All right. But yeah, I will be flying. I'll be on the road and I'll be taking off and landing there.
Okay.
And I will fly around and get some aerial footage.
Right, you go ahead.
All right, I don't know if you want to...
No, I will be telling the duty manager, so...
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Day, anyway.
All right, I'm only up there anyway if he wants me.
Cool.
Well, all right then. So this lady tells me that she's going to inform the duty manager, which makes no difference to me. So off I trot, back to the road, and it's a public road like I've said, so up goes the drone. Now, I didn't particularly fly the drone too far. because there's a lot of trees and you do get a lot of interference with your drone. It does cut out your signal and everything. But I did fly it a reasonable distance, keeping it in view, of course. And I did manage to get some footage of the cricket ground and the other areas around the park. I'm not going to include that in this video. You've probably seen it in the other video. If not, I'll leave a link down below.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm alright.
So I've just flown the drone over Clumber, and just as the drone's landing, one of the managers turns up with one of his associates that doesn't actually say a word, but is going to come out with some right tripe. So let's have a listen to what he's got to say about me flying the drone and privacy and other silly things that he's going to come out with.
As my colleague said, I'm going to have to ask you to move on, I'm afraid.
It's public road, mate.
The road is, but
yeah,
these
there you
grass
go.
verges are private.
I'm not on the grass verge,
No.
I'm on the road.
But the moment it's gone above that height, you're taking in private
Once it's gone
areas.
above what?
Well, once it's above that height, you're taking in our private land,
Right.
which is infringement.
Of what? What's an infringement of?
Of people's privacy when they're on here.
So,
taking a phone.
right, so what you're telling me then is the National Trust own the airspace as well?
No, but if you're flying over the land, which...
At 400 foot, yeah?
Yeah.
So the first thing this manager says to me is, you're not allowed to fly your drone here and I want you to move on. Now I'm on a public road. You can't tell me to move on. You know, and the second thing he tries to tell me is about privacy. Now the thing is, like, if you watch the video, you can see it's 400 foot up in the air. So I'm not intruding on anybody's privacy at all.
You're not allowed to do it on this, and you're causing a hazard parking on this.
It's public road, that's nothing to do with you.
No, I know, but the safety of people coming in and out of the park is.
That's my issue, not your issue, it's a public road.
If you're determined to do it, we'll get the duty manager up, and they'll contact the local authorities.
And what
you on.
what you mean by the local authorities?
The local authorities, the police.
The police, right, okay.
Yeah.
Why would you want to inform the police?
Because we've asked you kindly to move on from here.
Right.
That, you are
So,
flying
hang on a minute, so, correct me if I'm wrong, the police deal with criminal matters?
Not just.
Or what else do they deal with? What else do the police deal with?
We've asked you nicely to do this, sir.
I'm not saying you haven't.
No.
What else do the police deal with other than criminal matters? I thought they only dealt with criminal matters.
So as you can see, once again, he insists that I move and is going to fetch the manager or going to get the manager, I should say, to phone the authorities. And I say, well, what do you mean by the authorities? And he says, the police. I says, well, don't the police only deal with criminal matters? And he goes, no, they deal with other things. Now, as far as I'm aware, the police only deal with criminal matters, and he tries to spoof around it, saying that, no, they deal with other things like causing a disturbance and things like that. I says, well, that's a criminal matter, mate. You know, we have asked you nicely to move on, so please move on. No. It's a public road.
Not necessarily.
So what else?
They come deal with disorder and stuff, which
That's a criminal matter.
Not doesn't always get to criminal status.
No, but it's still a criminal matter. I'm breaking no laws, stood here flying my drone. So why would the police want to get involved?
Well, we would inform them. If they choose not to come, that's up to them, but we would report it.
Right.
That's the thing.
Right, okay.
And
right, let me just try and get this straight then. So what you're saying is that nothing can fly over here without your permission, without National Trust permission.
yeah, and we don't allow permission for drones to fly over this area. over our land.
Just tell me what law you're quoting to.
It's private land, so we can
Everywhere in the country is private land. So if I take off from my back garden, right, gate up to 150 foot and then off I go, I'm crossing other people's private land. Have they got a right to tell me I can't fly my drone over?
That is our policy here.
Right, hang on.
So it starts off with the usual, it's our policy. And when I ask him, why do you think your policy should apply to me? He's kind of like a bit dumbfounded. You know, I don't work for National Trust, I say. So I don't have to follow your rules.
What makes you think your policies apply to me? I don't work for you.
No.
So why would your policies apply to me?
Because we can say what we allow to happen on our land.
But I'm not on your land, and neither is my drone. This is what you don't understand.
No.
It's uncontrolled airspace, right? That's regulated not by the National Trust. It's regulated by the CAA. And if I go on my app and it says I'm allowed to fly here, then I'm allowed to fly here regardless of what the National Trust say. And if the National Trust don't like it, then that's just tough. I can go up on the main road up there, right at the top there, you know where the arch is, take off there and then fly down over Clumber Park. What can you do about it? What can you do about it?
In practical terms, very little.
Right, okay. Okay, so in realistic terms, what can you do?
In realistic terms, very little.
Right, so that applies to me here then.
So eventually he admits that if I went up onto the top road and flew down over Clumber Park, it couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and you can be stubborn and you can say, I'm just going to stay here and I don't care what hazard I'm causing.
What hazards am I causing?
On this road that's 60 miles an hour,
right,
parking there is a hazard.
Right, do you think
people turning out this junction, others coming down 60 miles an hour, that's a hazard.
I haven't seen any coming down at 60 miles an hour.
They can, because it's 60 mile an hour road.
I'm not saying they can't. And it's a 60 mile an hour road because it's a...
Because it's looking upwards is a hazard.
That's why I'm stood next to the car, so people can see it. So you're telling me it's a 60 mile an hour road, which kind of indicates that it's a public road.
So it's going on about me causing a hazard, and I'm parked where everybody can see me. You can see a good distance in each direction, but he eventually admits that it is a public road. Then he starts going on about the crossroads, which is about 100 yards away. What he thinks is going to happen, I've no idea, because loads of people park the cars on the road, especially when it's wet and a little bit muddy underfoot.
It is, yes.
Right, okay, that's it. No argument then. If it's a public road, I can do what I want on a public road as long as I'm not breaking the law. Policies don't count. Do you understand what I'm saying?
My question to you then is, why? Why do it here? What's the benefit of you flying that up a little bit here and then down?
I haven't flown it up a little bit here. I've flown it down
and then
so I can see the lake, the church, etc., etc.
If you were just above the road, I get what you're talking about.
Right.
But we're not allowing over the park because we've got minors, we've got potentially vulnerable adults and children.
You seriously think at 400 foot?
Well, you've just said yourself, you fly it over there so you can see. You can see the lake, you can see everything going on.
Right, you can't see individuals.
Well, we know the technology of these things.
Really?
Yeah. And you say you're flying it at 400 foot, but there's no way of knowing whether...
Well, when it goes on YouTube, you'll be able to see I'm flying it at 400 foot. I can prove it. I've got flight logs.
Yeah.
I can prove exactly what I've done. You know, if a drone is flying at 100 foot, you can't recognise anybody. Never mind about 400 foot.
So then he comes out with all this rubbish out about privacy. And why do you want to do it here? Why don't, you know, what are you going to get out of just flying straight up and then straight down? And when, when I say to him I haven't done, I've flown down so I can see the lake and the church and things like that, you know, he starts going on about privacy. I'm at 400 foot. And you can see from the video, you can't recognise anybody at that height. And at the distance away from the church and the visitors area, no chance at all.
What I'm saying is that is our policy, and I'd ask you kindly to not do it. And if you insist, then I'll escalate it further.
To be honest, I've done.
Right.
I've videoed what I wanted to video. And the reason I've come here is because this is the centre of everything. You can see the cricket pitch, you can see, you know, the church, you can see the cafe and the lake and everything from 400 foot. You know?
Yeah.
Where you can't recognise anybody.
And I understand what you're
And
saying.
now you're on about minors and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, every time somebody's walking around in there, around the cafe area, taking photos, you can't take that photo because there's a child there. Do you do that? Seriously, do you do that?
People shouldn't be posting.
Yes or no? Do you do that?
No.
Right.
No.
So why are you accusing me of something like that?
No,
What?
I'm saying we have these policies in place for a reason. The fact that you say you are flying it at 400 feet and you can't identify anything actually doesn't matter in that sense. We have that blanket policy to avoid the issue.
To quote you, you said there's people down there that could be vulnerable, there's young kids, etc., etc.
A blanket policy.
Well, then you ought to have a blanket policy on people taking photographs, because if I'm taking a photograph of you down at the cafe and there's kids playing in the background, there's kids playing in the background. You can see them a lot easier than you can from 400 foot with a drone. Do you get my point?
I understand your point.
So that kind of invalidates the point you're trying to make to me.
No, I'm just explaining why we've got a policy in place.
Right.
And ask you to move on.
Now he's coming out with an absolute stupid comment about people being down there, there's young kids, there could be vulnerable people, etc., etc. But there's people running around there with cameras taking photos all the time. They don't police them. They just police a man with a drone that's flying at 400 foot that, you know, can't recognise anybody. And like I said to him, there's people there taking photos and there's kids in the background and all sorts of things. Do they go around and police them? No, of course they don't. They just want to come and police me because, believe it or not, I'm flying a drone.
I mean, I'll be honest, I did phone up and ask if I could come down and take some, because I am a photographer.
Yeah.
But they said no.
No. So, having heard that no, you decided I'm going to do it anyway.
No, I didn't decide I was going to do it anyway, because if I'd have done it anyway, I'd have gone somewhere like down to the Ford where there's nobody about and flown it around there.
But you did, having requested and been told no, you decided to come anyway and tell our staff member at the gate, well, I'm doing this.
That's right.
Having been told that we don't permit it.
But
you decided
what do you mean you don't permit it? You
well,
cannot.
You asked. You asked.
I asked if I could come on to Clumber and fly the drone. And you said no. Clumber Park said no. National Trust said no.
Yeah.
So I've stayed off of Clumber Park and flown the drone over the top, which is an entirely different scenario.
I think if you had asked that question, they'd have exactly the same said no, we don't permit it. Whether you agree with it or not, the answer would have been no.
But they can't stop me, same as you can't stop me.
So you're saying to me, you asked, you were told no, but you're going to do what you want anyway.
No, I did what is my lawful right to do. I have a lawful right to stand on public ground and fly my drone. You know, when this little Cessna 172 comes flying over the top in a bit, are you going to get on to Gamston or Netherthorpe and phone them up and say, hey, up, there's one of your airplanes flying over our side. Is it 800 foot? It could be taking photographs. Are you going to do that? No, of course you're not.
So once again, he looks dumbfounded when I say, what happens if a you know, a little light aircraft comes flying over the top. Are you going to be phoning the airfield? I'll put my teeth in. Are you going to be phoning the airfields up and saying, your plane's flying over the top of Clumber Park? Can you get on the radio to them and tell them to get away? No, of course he's not. Of course he's not. They might be taking photos. Well, planes don't do that. Yes, they do.
Because they're not set up to take photographs.
How do you know?
Well, that's what drones are.
Right.
They're set up specifically to do that. Planes aren't specifically set up to do that. Yeah, you can adapt them. But the whole intent...
You open the sliding window, you stick your camera out and go click.
The whole intent of a drone is to do that.
Yes.
Now, we're obviously not going to agree on this.
I mean, you've got
you want to stand your ground on what you believe.
I will stand my ground on what I believe. You've got a beautiful place here. Really is beautiful.
Yeah.
I love coming up here with the kids and the dogs and everything and walking them.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. And I cannot for the life of me understand why you don't want to push that out a little bit more. I really can't.
We do, but in ways that we are in control of, as opposed to people flying their own drones over.
Right.
So we've got down to the nitty gritty of it. The National Trust wants to be in control. And that's it. We just want to control everything.
Taking pictures around the cafe and stuff, but be careful because there's kids in the photo and stuff.
We're not going to agree on this, are we?
Well, you fetch the subject up that there's vulnerable people and children around.
And there are. And that would be the reason why. But look, there's no point going round
I think it's a pathetic reason that you've come up with. I really do. Especially when you allow photography and videography all around the rest of the site.
But we only allow that and allow pictures of individuals, children, to go out if they've given permission.
If you go on the internet and Google National Trust, there's thousands, and I mean thousands of photos of Clumber Park. Just do it, just Google Clumber Park and look at all the photos. And you can see there's hundreds of people milling about on some of them. They're not policing them. They're saying that, you know, those are for my personal use, but loads of people put them on the internet. You know, they put them on the Facebook pages and the TikTok and everything else, but that doesn't seem to matter to this guy.
Now,
so police
if I take a photo of my children and there's someone in the background, and it's for my own personal use, and I don't publish it anywhere, that's okay, that's allowed. Right. If I start publishing pictures, putting them online of other people's kids, they have a right to ask me to stop that.
Right, so if you're here with your family and you're sat having a cup of coffee and kids are going, hey, oh, dad or granddad or whatever, and you go, click, and you just happen to get another child in the background, you wouldn't put that on Facebook because there's another child in the background?
Wouldn't.
Well, no. you must be the exception.
Because that child might be a vulnerable child.
You must be the exception to the rule, because if you go on Facebook, there's millions of them.
But you shouldn't.
Why?
Because if that child's in care or in vulnerable situation and they don't want to be identified as being in this part of the country, they've got a right to
You do realise that there's no such thing as privacy in a public place, don't you?
But this isn't public.
Right, but
this isn't a public
but the
place.
Public have access.
Yes, but it's controlled access. We have members, we have visitors who pay to come in. It's a controlled place.
So if you were somewhere, if people who were elsewhere in town or anywhere like that, there's no such thing as privacy in a public place.
But that's the way it is. Look, you're causing a hazard here on this road now. I'd ask for you to move on.
I am going, my friend.
Yeah, okay.
But, you know, I wanted to let the people down there know what I were doing in case you saw the drone and go, ah, there's a drone.
Yeah.
And wherever I fly the drone, I usually do industrial estates and, you know, big manufacturing plants and things like that. And I just wanted to do something different, so I thought I'd come down here. But I fly this 3, 4, 5 times a day sometimes.
Okay. Well, my name's Matt.
All right, Matt.
If you're interested, if you want to get in contact again. Your name was?
Pete.
Pete.
Right.
Okay. I'll pass on this conversation to my manager and duty manager today, and I'll let them decide what they want off the back of it, which won't be to do anything, but just to maybe look at art and make sure that as a staff we're all aware exactly why. Maybe I've missed something here in my communication to you.
Well, when it goes on YouTube, you'll see that the thing you're saying about people's privacy and everything is rubbish. Absolute rubbish, my friend. I'm sorry.
No. And you chose to fly 400 foot above. You could have chosen to do it 100 foot above. There's no way, or you could have done it 5 meters above. There's no way. I couldn't have done it 100 foot above because the trees are too tall. There's no way of us.
So I take it to the maximum height, so I know it's safe.
But there is no way of us being able to differentiate between that and saying, oh well, we'll allow a drone to fly if it's 400 foot above, but if it gets within 300 foot, we'll then.
Well, the telemetry will be on, so you can see the height and everything.
But from our point of view, managing that is just.
I'm not saying it isn't, but I seriously think that if somebody comes along and specifically asks for permission to take some drone footage, and they come along and they show you the drone pilot's license, their insurance, I've got £5 million worth of public liability insurance and everything else, why you can't be a little bit more accommodating? I don't mean coming down on a Saturday afternoon when you're packed out. I'm talking about coming down, you know, when there's not many people about, and taking some nice photos of the church and the visitor centre and things like that.
Look, by all means get in touch again and say, I'd like to do this, but on times where there aren't the people around.
I'm still going to get
the any times
I'm still going to get. Well, I'm still going to get the same answer.
You can ask. Can I do
I
it?
did ask.
Can I do it out of hours?
Yeah.
When the park is shut.
Yeah, I did ask. They've just got a blanket rule on no flying.
So now he's telling me, you can't believe this guy, you know, phone up again and ask again. Ask if you can come down when it's quiet, or perhaps when the park's closed. We might let you. Yeah, got more chance of platting fog, I'll tell you. You've got absolutely no chance, because it's National Trust policy.
Okay.
You know, I can fly round airports easier than I can fly here. I can phone Gamston up and say, I'm at such and such, was in your flight restriction zone. Am I permitted to fly? And they'll say, not at the moment, but you can at such and such a time. There's no aircraft scheduled in. You know, or how high are you flying? I'm not flying any higher than 150 foot. I'm at so and so. Yeah, that's fine. I can fly over Gamston or Netherthorpe airfield easier than I can fly over a National Trust property. And it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, it's been nice meeting you.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure you'll remember the conversation.
Oh, yeah. Likewise.
Yeah. All right, mate.
See ya.
Ta-da.
I explained to him that I can actually fly around airfields and things like that a lot easier, or get permission a lot easier, than I can round National Trust properties, and that's absolutely crazy. Okay, there may be restrictions. You can fly at such and such a time, or you can't go above a certain height, or things like that because of aircraft coming in, etc. But generally speaking, around some airfields, providing they know that you're there and where you're going to be flying and what time you're going to be flying and what height you're flying at, they'll let you fly. I'm not talking about the major airports, but some of the smaller local airfields. And I've done it in the past. But National Trust have an absolute policy of no drones. Anyway, we leave company, or park company, reasonably amicably. And I think he's realised that, no, I ain't got a leg to stand on. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, please share, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everybody, see you soon.